James, you know how long I have been waiting for this moment, not to judge you, to show you what your life looked like from here.
Lord, I need you to know that every single day I woke up on that earth I tried. Some days I failed badly. Some days I barely held on. But every single morning I chose you first. Even when choosing you cost me everything. I just need you to know I meant it. Every single day, I meant it.
James, I know. I was there for every single morning. That is exactly why we are here. Not for judgment. For something else entirely. Stand still and let them see what a life fully surrendered to me actually looks like when it arrives home.
James William Carter, age 71. The record begins not with the failures, and there were failures, but with the defining characteristic that runs through every page of this life like a thread that never once broke. A man who chose God when choosing God was expensive every single time. Age 22, his business partner offered him a deal that would have made him wealthy before 30. It required one compromise, one signature on one document that would have harmed people James would never meet. He walked away from the deal, lost the partnership, lost the income, spent the next 4 years rebuilding from nothing. He never told anyone why he walked away. He told God, age 34. His marriage was fracturing. His wife had pulled away and the distance between them had grown into something that felt permanent. Every person he trusted told him what was over. He spent 6 months on his knees instead, not asking God to fix her, asking God to fix him. The marriage lasted 37 more years. She held his hand when he died. Age 48, he discovered his employer was falsifying financial records that were quietly destroying the pension funds of 400 workers. Approaching retirement, he had a family, a mortgage, 3 children still in school. He reported it anyway, lost a job within a week, spent 14 months unemployed. Not one of those 400 workers ever knew his name.
Those things cost me more than the record shows. I want to be honest about that. Walking away from that deal at 22, I cried for a month. The 14 months without work. There were nights I asked God if I had made a mistake. There were nights the fear was so loud I could barely hear anything else. I did not do those things because I was strong. I did them because I was more afraid of disappointing Him than I was of losing everything else. That is the only reason. I was not a hero. I was just a man who was more afraid of the wrong thing than the right one.
Age 69. The end times had begun. The pressure to compromise was not personal anymore. It was global. Systems designed to make daily life impossible without a loyalty that belonged only to God. James refused quietly, without protest or platform or public declaration. He simply refused, and he paid for that refusal every remaining day of his life. And he never once asked God why. He only ever asked God for the strength to hold on until the morning. And every morning the strength came, and every morning he held on.
James Carter, I want to talk about the nights, because the record the angel reads is the daytime record. The decisions people saw, or in some cases the decisions nobody saw but God. But I want to talk about the nights, the ones between the decisions, because that is where I had room. That is where every man has room, and James was not an exception.
Say what you have to say. I am not afraid of the nights. I lived through every one of them.
Age 51. 3 months after losing the job, the fear had become something physical by then. You lay awake at 3 a.m. and you did something you never told anyone. You opened your laptop and you looked up the contact information for the company you had reported. You sat there for 40 minutes with their number on the screen, thinking about calling and recanting, telling them it was a misunderstanding, getting your position back, feeding your children without the specific humiliation of asking your church for help with groceries. You sat there for 40 minutes, James, And I was in that room with you. I felt how close you were.
I was close. I will not pretend I wasn't. 40 minutes. I sat there for 40 minutes. And then I closed the laptop and I got on the floor and I stayed there until the sun came up. I did not feel strong that night. I felt like I was held by something stronger than me, because there was nothing strong left in me to hold myself. That is not my victory. That was never my victory. That was his grip, not mine.
Age 69, when the systems changed, when refusal meant real deprivation. There were 7 days, I counted them, 7 consecutive days, where you sat with the form in front of you. The form that would have ended the deprivation, restored your access, made the remaining years livable by any human standard. 7 days, James. You picked it up every morning for 7 days and put it down every evening. You want to tell me those 7 days were faith? They looked more like a man who had not yet found the courage to do what part of him wanted to do.
Those 7 days were the most honest prayer I ever prayed. Every morning I picked it up, I said, Lord, I cannot do this without you. And every evening I put it down. He had given me one more day of not doing it. You call that weakness. I call that exactly what faith looks like when it is real and not a performance. Faith is not the absence of wanting to give up. Faith is picking up the form and putting it down again because something in you belongs to someone the form cannot reach. I put it down 7 times, and on the 8th morning I burned it. That is not a man failing. That is a man fighting, and he won every round.
You held on, James. I will grant you that. But holding on is not the same as thriving. You spent 50 years white-knuckling your faith through loss and fear and deprivation, and nights that nearly broke you. Is that the abundant life he promised? Is that what his followers are supposed to look like? A man so afraid of disappointing God that he could never fully live? I gave you every exit, and you refused everyone. But the life you lived as a result, was it really worth it?
Was it worth it? I want to answer that. Not James, me, because the question was directed at my faithfulness as much as his endurance, and I do not leave that question unanswered.
Lord, I never once asked if it was worth it, not one time, because every morning you gave me the strength for that day already had my answer. The question was never worth it or not. The question was always just, can I trust you for one more day? And one more day always came. That is all I ever needed.
I know, James. I know you never asked. That is one of the reasons we are here like this. But I want the world watching this moment to hear me answer it anyway, because there are people watching this right now who are in the middle of the nights you survived, who are sitting with the form in front of them, who are 3 months into the 14 months and cannot see the end of it. And I want them to hear me say this directly. Romans 8:18. The sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed. Not, they are slightly less than the glory. Not worth comparing. The 14 months of groceries from the church, not worth comparing. The 40 minutes at the laptop at 3 a.m., not worth comparing. The 7 days with the form, not worth comparing. Everything the enemy used to make James question whether the life was worth living, not worth comparing. To this, to right now, to what I am about to show him.
Lord, I don't need to see anything. I don't need a reward or a showing. I just needed to make it here. I just needed to know that the mornings I chose you were received, that the nights I held on were seen. That is all I ever wanted, just to know you saw it.
I saw every morning, James. I saw every night. I saw the 40 minutes. I saw the 7 days. I saw the 14 months. I saw the 37 years of a marriage rebuilt on your knees. I saw the 400 workers who kept their pensions and never knew your name. I saw the end times and a man who burned a form on an 8th morning because something in him belonged to me and no system on earth could reach it. I saw all of it, every single moment, and I want you to hear what I say next clearly. Matthew 25-23. Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. James William Carter, well done. Not well done because you were perfect. Not well done because you never wavered. Well done because every time you wavered, you came back. Every time the night was loudest, you stayed until the morning. Every time the cost was highest, you paid it anyway. And you did it for 71 years without once asking me to make it easier. You only ever asked me to make you strong enough, and I never once let you down. Come home, James. You have been on that road long enough. Come home.
If you are in the middle of one of James's nights right now and you needed to hear that the morning is coming, type one more day in the comments. Share this with everyone who is holding on and needs to know that what they are doing is seen. Like if well done broke something open in you that needed to be broken open. Subscribe because this channel will keep telling the stories of the people who held on until the morning came. He was not a perfect man. He sat at a laptop for 40 minutes at 3 a.m. thinking about undoing the most costly right thing he ever did. He picked up a form every morning for 7 days that would have ended his suffering and put it down every evening because something in him belonged to someone the form could not reach. He spent 14 months accepting groceries from his church with the specific humiliation that only a proud man who did the right thing and lost everything for it fully understands. He was not a hero in the way the word is used on earth. He was something rarer and more difficult than a hero. He was a man who chose God when choosing God was expensive every single time for 71 years. In the end times when the pressure was not personal but global and the cost of refusal was written into every system designed to make daily life possible, he refused quietly, without a platform, without an audience, just a man and his God and a form he burned on an 8th morning because the 7 mornings before had taught him that one more day of strength was always going to come if he asked for it. And he arrived home to a voice that had been watching every morning and every night for 71 years say the 2 words every soul that has ever lived was made to hear. Well done. You might be in the middle of one of his nights right now. You might be at the laptop. You might be holding the form. You might be in month 3 of the 14 months. And the morning feels like something that happens to other people. It is coming. Ask for one more day of strength. That is all he ever asked for. And the morning always came. It will come for you too.